Greetings car fanatics, in this video I'm going to show you how to install the new ECG Performance valve exhaust for the Porsche 991.1 Carrera models. The exhaust is made of stainless steel, it features 2.5-inch mandrel bent piping and an X pipe to improve sound and power output. To get started, you want to raise the rear spoiler because this is going to be required to remove the rear bumper. Then you want to lift up the car. With the car in the air, you want to apply a liberal amount of penetrating oil to the exhaust flange and exhaust clamp nuts. Before removing the bumper, you'll want to apply masking tape to the edge where the rear quarter panel meets the bumper. This is going to prevent scratching whenever you're taking the bumper off and putting it back on. Now it's time to remove the rear tail lights. For each tail light, it's just held on by two T25 Torx screws. As you're removing these, there's a nut on the bottom. To keep it from spinning, use a flathead screwdriver to hold them in place while unscrewing the Torx screw. Disconnect the wiring harness and remove the tail light. Behind each tail light, remove the silver T30 Torx screw that holds the bumper in place. Now unscrew the four T30 Torx screws on the top of the bumper. Next, go underneath the bumper on the lower center section and remove the two T30 Torx screws. Then underneath the bumper on each side, remove the two T30 Torx screws. Then on the inside corner of the bumpers where the bumper meets the rear quarter panel, remove the T30 Torx screw on each side. Pull each side of the bumper away from the car and push it back slightly. Now you can remove the rear bumper. But before you can fully remove the rear bumper, you need to disconnect the wiring connector for the license plate lights. With the bumper off, we can remove the exhaust heat shields. Remove each heat shield by removing the 10mm nuts and the T30 Torx screw. Now we're going to remove the factory center and side mufflers. Note that for a development car, the factory center muffler has already been replaced with a center muffler bypass. However, the process to remove the factory center muffler will be similar. Remove the three 13mm exhaust flange nuts on each side. Loosen the 13mm nuts on the exhaust clamps connecting the side mufflers to the center muffler. And using a T40 Torx bit, loosen the two straps that support the center muffler. Next, we're going to remove the side mufflers. We just need to slide the straps off the center muffler and slide the exhaust clamps onto their respective side muffler. Remove the two 13mm nuts that secure the side muffler bracket. Then you can drop the side muffler down. Now we can remove the center muffler. Before installing the new ECG Performance mufflers, we need to transfer the muffler brackets over. Remove the 13mm nuts and bolts holding the side muffler bracket in place. Then remove the steel mesh dampeners. Install the steel mesh dampers and the muffler brackets onto the new mufflers and torque the fasteners to 17 foot-pounds. Now we're going to install one of the side mufflers. Secure the ECG side muffler to the new exhaust flange using the new hardware. Tighten the nuts enough to secure the muffler while allowing for some play. Then secure the new 13mm nuts to the muffler bracket. Torque the nuts on the side muffler brackets to 17 foot-pounds. With the first side muffler installed, we can now slip on the center muffler section and the exhaust clamp. Then we can install the other side muffler in a similar fashion. Now it's time to slip on the exhaust tip pipes and clamps. Each exhaust tip pipe is labeled with the letter that you can match up to the letters on the center muffler section. Tighten the clamps enough to keep the exhaust tip pipes in place, but still allow you to adjust the pipes. Now we can move on to installing the ECG Performance exhaust valve controller. On the left side of the car, locate the engine mount as shown. We're going to connect the black ground ring on the valve controller harness to one of the engine mount bolts. Use an E12 external torque socket to remove one of the engine mount bolts, slip on the ground ring, and reinstall the engine mount bolt and torque it to 27 foot-pounds. Next, locate the gray O2 sensor connector as shown in disconnected. Now using the supplied posi tab, connect the red power wire from the valve controller harness to the red wire with the thin white stripe on the O2 sensor connector. Screw the power harness to the valve controller box and install the supplied antenna. Turn the ignition to the on position to make sure the exhaust valve controller receives power. Mount the exhaust valve controller to the bumper bead as shown and secure it using the supplied white zip ties. Next, we're going to install the vacuum lines from the exhaust valve controller to the exhaust valves. Start by connecting the vacuum hose to the exhaust valve controller, then run it down the bumper beam as shown. Cut the vacuum hose and connect the T-fitting. Cut the remaining vacuum hose to size so you can connect each exhaust valve to the T-fitting. Make sure the vacuum hose doesn't touch the exhaust or anything hot. Secure the vacuum hose in place using the supplied zip ties as shown. Now turn the ignition to the on position and use the supplied key fob to test that the exhaust valve controller works by opening and closing the exhaust valves. With everything working, reinstall the muffler heat shields, rear bumper cover, and tail lights. Slip on the exhaust tip and clamps, and align the exhaust tips appropriately. Now let's torque everything down to spec, starting with the exhaust flange bolts, which you want to torque to 23 foot-pounds. Torque the various exhaust clamps to 34 foot-pounds. Then finally, using a 6mm Allen bit, torque the exhaust tip clamps to 8 foot-pounds. With everything initially torqued down, double check that no component is loose and tighten the clamps as needed. Alright, we're all done. Let's start the car and see how the new ECG Performance exhaust sounds. Well, there you have it, car fanatics. The new ECG Performance exhaust for the 991 doesn't only look and sound great, but it also provides an additional 5 to 10 wheel horsepower gain on Carrera models. If you're interested in purchasing this exhaust for your 991, visit ecgperformance.com. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Leave any comments or questions below and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you're notified each time I upload a new video. Thanks for watching.